know what's going on? Maybe it's another drill.
Commence primary ignition.
Four Midwest Guys presents Parsecs of the Force, a time for everything Star Wars.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
I have waited a long time for this moment.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
This will be a day long remembered.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Punch it!
Hello and welcome to the very first ever Star Wars Parsecs of the Force. We're finally here. It's our Star Wars news program. It is a time for Star Wars, time and place, I should say, for everything Star Wars here at Four Midwest Guys. It's a long time coming, a long time dream come true. A lot of help from Mr. Ankenbauer, especially this week with my work schedule, helping me put the graphics package together. It looks awesome, B, as always. We're finally here, so let's just talk some Star Wars. What do you think, Brian?
Hey, I'm ready to talk Star Wars when you are. Hey, first off, shout out to the UK Wildcats for winning their game against Davidson.
Go Big Blue. If you can't tell, we're Wildcat fans. So, and the gnome, is not Star Wars. It's not canon, but we don't care. All right. So let's move right into our first topic of the day, and that would be Mr. Jon Favreau joining the Disney streaming service. He will write and produce, from what we understand, some sort of new Star Wars series on the Disney streaming service.
Yeah, live action.
Live action. So I kind of thought the Game of Thrones guys were going to have this one. I was a little shocked, honestly, that they...
But aren't they getting movies?
Yeah, they did say movies, but I thought maybe they really meant they were going to put them on the streaming service, like streaming service movie.
Oh, they might still do that. They might still do that, but yeah, I would have thought they'd been switched. Game of Thrones is a TV show. They would have got the TV show.
Yeah.
Favreau's done movies. You would get the movie.
Right, exactly.
But they're doing the reverse. And even though Favreau's done Iron Man and Jungle Book, and he's getting ready to finish up on The Lion King. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to give him the TV series. Yeah, see how that plays out.
Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about this. I think he's a good pick. It's just, I was really shocked. I was like, oh wow, okay. Like you said, they crisscrossed it up, and I thought, who better to do a streaming service than the Game of Thrones producers? But I think this is a good thing. I think we're going to see. I'm not sure what they're going to give him. If they give him Knights of the Old Republic, or do you think they'll give him something? Some other series, some other timeline series.
From everything that he's done so far, it's going to be something that's already kind of written.
Yeah.
So he's taken stuff that's already been done and written it to his own. Iron Man. Mm-hmm. Already had a bunch of comics, a lot of history. He just took what he liked.
Yep.
Put a movie together. Jungle Book. Yeah. Jungle Book was already out there.
Yeah.
He just kind of rewrote a couple spots and made it his own.
Right.
Lion King, I guess he's doing the same thing. So when Star Wars comes about, I'm going to guess he's already going to play with something that's already out there.
So maybe the Star Wars Underworld series that has what rumored to have 100 episodes already written, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so it could be anything like that. So
yeah,
I'm very curious to see, and I'm also curious to see the length of the show. Like on the Disney streaming service, is it going to be a half-hour show?
Right. Or
is it going to be a 45-minute show? Or is it going to be a Netflix thing where it could be 48, 54, however long they needed the show to be?
Right.
And he gets 13 episodes maybe on his first season. Mm-hmm. So that's essentially a 13-hour-long movie.
Exactly.
So
13-hour Star Wars movie. I can't.
Yeah. So I mean,
just thinking about it.
And the other thing is does it come out like it does for network TV and it comes out once a week, mm-hmm. or is it going to come out like Netflix and binge watch?
I think they would probably release it once a week from a Star Wars fan perspective. But not to say that I wouldn't want it all at once.
Obviously,
oh, no.
I would definitely want it all at once because I love binge watching stuff. I just finished Jessica Jones season 2.
Yeah.
But I would much prefer the binge watch because then I can sit there and I can watch 2 hours of a show, mm-hmm. go do something else, come back, watch 2 hours of the same shit,
right.
and just further along the story in bigger blocks. Because that's our biggest gripe that we've always had with Rebels.
It's too short.
It's too short.
Right. So,
I don't know.
It depends on how Disney does it. I mean, when not to jump genres, but when Star Trek did it weekly, it worked out well. It built up the suspense. It gave you that weekly, one. But
those were longer episodes.
But those were longer episodes. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here. I think like you said, with he's got he's proven obviously with Iron Man starting that whole franchise. So him starting a brand new Star Wars series, whether that's Underworld, whether that's Old Republic, I can definitely see him, as you say, polishing things up, as it were. The only downside to this might be, and this is stretching on my part a little bit here, is he's obviously very heavy into the CGI, whether it's through Iron Man, whether it was through Jungle Book,
right? So he's not
Lion King.
So he's not into practical effects. He's more into CGI and animate, like the computer generated stuff. And I can see that being a factor. And like if you're trying to find one negative thing about it, I could see that being a negative.
Yeah, that they may go a little bit heavier on CGI to keep production costs down.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the budget for this? You know what I mean?
Well,
if the budget is huge,
yeah,
it's not going to matter, and it's going to be Star Wars, and they're going to do as much as they want.
Well, the big problem, like when George Lucas was developing this Star Wars Underworld series that he wrote all these scripts for, was he was trying to figure out how to get it under $1 million an episode, because it's Star Wars and the production cost is phenomenal. So maybe this is the trade-off. Maybe a little less on the practical effects side on the streaming service, series, and maybe this is how they try to make that from a fiscal point. I don't know. I am stretching here a little bit. I could be completely off. They could spend $3 million an episode, and we'll have a 13-hour Star Wars movie, a season. That's fine by me. Go for it, please. Take my money now. But so I don't know. We'll see. I have to see what happens. I am. Other than that, that's the only negative I can really see with this. I don't see him. He's already a huge Star Wars fan, just like about every other director that's taken on the Star Wars.
Well, he's had parts in 2 of them. He had a voice in Clone Wars.
Yes,
and then he has an upcoming part. And I haven't heard if he's an actual character or if he's a voiceover for one of the other characters, but in the new Solo movie.
Okay, so I wonder then. That's a great point. I wonder if he'll do any collaboration with Dave Filoni then, because if he has that connection with Dave Filoni from the Clone Wars. I wonder if we'll see any kind of crossover work.
It all depends on how Filoni is handled as he's going forward. Because if Filoni is just doing animation,
right,
as we think he probably will, because we don't think he's going to get his own live action yet. Especially after this was announced that he's getting live action, Favreau.
But I can see,
and if he gets Old Republic, there's no need to collaborate with Filoni. I mean, obviously you're going to collaborate regardless. I mean, he'll probably talk to George Lucas and just say, "Hey, what do you think about this story?" Not really like, "How would you do this?" Just, "What do you think about this story?" Like, "What do you think about this character? You think this character would do this?" And George would say, "Yeah, I can see him doing that," because like every other director, we even saw in the deleted scenes, we'll talk about later, but even the deleted scenes of Last Jedi, we saw Rian Johnson talk to Lucas.
Yes.
So I mean, it's there, and Rian Johnson talked to J.J. Abrams. So they all collate. They all talk,
right,
and they all get their opinions on everything, because whether or not they want to talk to all the Star Wars fans and say, "What do you think about this? Do you think this would work? This is what I'm thinking." And they just, it's kind of like just shooting the ball back and forth between each other and say, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this?"
And maybe it's wishful thinking on my point, but I think more than I think about the Filoni thing, this might be a good testing ground. Maybe he takes an episode. Maybe he takes 2 episodes. Maybe he writes an episode. Maybe he only directs an episode. Maybe it's a way to transition him to try live action and do it in a way that's not a huge risk from Lucas's film's point of view. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, one could hope.
It's an idea.
To be honest, I actually, since he's executive producing and writing, I actually see somebody, him having those directors come in.
Yes, directors and stuff, yeah.
So I can definitely see, Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You can definitely see Kevin Smith coming in and doing an episode.
That would be, I don't know how he'd hold back on cussing through it, but he did just have a heart attack. So
I can see Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Possible. Coming in and directing an episode,
or at least voicing some characters for sure.
Yeah. But I would say they're going to try to stay away from anything that's going to sound, like Luke.
Yeah,
but
I could see that.
But he could probably come in and direct one. You might see, you might see a couple other directors that we've seen from other shows.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Possibilities are endless. By the way, big shout out to Kevin Smith. Get well soon, my friend. We're pulling for you. Get better soon. Your massive heart attack there. Full recovery, hopefully. Hang in there. All right. Next graphic here. Next topic. So we kind of hinted at it before. Last Jedi was released. What was it? Monday. Just this past Monday on digital. Obviously, I pull. Here's my money. Take it. Pre-ordered it even. As soon as midnight hit on Monday, you came over after I got off work, and we sat there and we watched everything. All the deleted scenes, the documentaries, which were really cool, by the way.
We didn't watch the movie. We watched all the extra stuff.
Every deleted scene, which there was quite a few. And overall, majority of it, I would say, okay, I can see why they cut it. It was cool, it was neat, but didn't need to. But there were two scenes that I thought definitely should have been in the movie.
Which one of those?
Well, in order, counting down, I would say number 2 would be the third lesson, a.k.a. the whole scene with her running towards the village of the caretakers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great scene. It's kind of like he's testing her, kind of, sort of, through the third lesson. And on top of that, when she does get to the village and see that it's actually a party and they're not being attacked, it almost turns into like the Ewok village. It feels like the Ewok village. It was Star Wars, in my opinion. It felt like Star Wars to me, and it felt like it belonged, and it would have been nice to have seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than see the milking the space whales, or not space whales, but whatever they were, space cows, or sea cows. So that would be my second. Now going down to the first one, there's a 10 to 15 second clip of after he's outside, he's sitting with Rey, he's sitting with Chewie. This is after Chewie barges in, of course, and he says, "What did you think I came here for?" And he goes back into his hut, and Luke literally stops, kind of sits down, takes a breath, and literally starts to mourn and cry. And it's only 15 seconds, and he's obviously mourning Han Solo, the passing of Han Solo, his friend. Why couldn't you extend the movie for 15 seconds for that? I don't understand. I don't get it. There's no reason to cut that. I don't know why he cut it. The only thing we didn't do, by the way, was listen to the commentary with the deleted scenes, so we need to do that. But to me, leaving this scene out was just a huge mistake on Rian Johnson's part. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I agree that it was a mistake. Couple of the ones that I didn't care for, I'm glad they took out of the movie. Was the alternate scene with Finn and Phasma.
Yeah,
I didn't care for that. I like the one that was in the movie rather than that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the extended Canto Bight. Horses or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, that ride around the track.
Yeah, the ride around that track and through the city. Although I did like the was that part of the documentary where they showed all the creatures, or was that actual extra footage of them?
There was both. So we had behind the scenes, and they also had an extended scene.
Okay, so I like the extended scenes of seeing more of the characters and stuff when they came in through the front. It looked like a big grand casino opening, and you saw the statue of the.
Oh yeah, the horse.
Race,
there's a horse statue.
Yeah,
there, yeah.
I mean, I thought kind of cool. I thought that was cool, and getting to see the behind the scenes stuff. That was even cooler. I liked the way that we were able to see how they did that seamless pan across the entire casino.
Mm-hmm.
How
they passed through the people.
Yeah,
and
how it was one camera, but it was on two tracks that went and drove through them. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the behind-the-scenes footage in the documentary was superb. I had no problems with any of that. It was really well done. But yeah, those two scenes I don't understand. Especially Luke mourning. Why? It's 15 seconds added to the movie. I know it's over 2.5 hours, but it's still a legitimate 15 seconds. Like I said, cut the the space whale or sea.
You want to talk about those squales, don't you?
Yeah,
space whales,
yeah.
squales.
Yeah.
No, but I agree though that we didn't need the milking scene, but we could have used the morning scene.
Yeah.
But even still, you could have used the 15 seconds. Put it in there.
Who cares?
It would have brought Luke back down to earth. because, we'll talk about our next segment because it was one of these segments. It was one of the featurettes, like one of the little behind-the-scenes documentary type things of what Rian Johnson thinks of the Force.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that would have actually brought...
Well, it would have brought emotion. It would have showed that, that they cared. They were the big three, right? As far, and they did all these adventures together.
Instead of it meaning nothing. Instead of it meaning nothing, basically.
They were family. I mean, Han married Leia, so that's his brother-in-law. He's at least family, Han, if nothing else. But he was more than that. It was... I do not understand what he was thinking. I can't think of any excuse that is even legitimate for leaving that out of the movie. So I really don't understand. So sticking with the Rian Johnson theme, in the documentary we find out that at the end with the crate scene with Luke, that Rian thought that Luke not doing something, he had all these things planned. I think he even said he was thinking about Luke pulling down part of one of the destroyed Star Destroyers down on the planet with the Force, or doing something with the walkers with the Force. But he said, and this is what he said, well, that would make the Force a superpower again. And the Force is not that. The Force is a living, binding, breathing thing. And yeah, it is all those things, Rian, but that's what made us fall in love with the Force in the first place. That's what 10-year-old Brian, 8-year-old Brian... Make it 8, yeah. 8. That's why 8-year-old Brian leaped out of his seat in Return of the Jedi when Luke was with the Rancor and said, "Go get him, Luke." That exact same thing. That's what made me fall in love with it.
Because it is a superpower.
Yeah.
Because you can't just hold your hand out and make stuff move. That's a superpower.
Yeah.
But for him to say, "Oh, it's not a superpower," and you want to just basically, what he did was he basically just crapped all over everybody. All the fans and everything about
unintentionally, but yes.
But you think it's unintentionally, but I almost think it was intentional because Daisy Ridley said there was a script written for Episode 8, by J.J. Abrams, and Rian Johnson
said no to it.
Said no, threw it away.
Yeah.
Now,
well, story treatments, but yeah.
But you know what I mean. Like J.J. Abrams had 7, 8, 9 essentially done, and he comes in and then just basically just shadow everything. Like,
Well, I don't have a problem with the story. It's just, why would you take away the... It's like he got so caught up in his own mythology, in the thought of the Jedi, and the lore of the Jedi, and the religion of the Jedi.
His opinion. He got caught up in his opinion of what the Jedi was, what Force is.
Yes.
Not anything else. And then completely changed everything we've heard, every episode, every series, everything, that of the Force being a superpower, essentially. Because he felt it wasn't. That's why he changed it in Episode 8, which is bullshit.
Well, it is bullshit because if you had let Luke do something huge, I guarantee you would have much better. You wouldn't have this big giant rift between fans right now because you're gonna kill the guy anyway. Let him go out in grandeur. Who cares? Then you can say, well, if I do that, I make Luke all too powerful. Well, you're gonna kill him. So what does it matter?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not make it fun? I think he got so caught up in the mythology of the Jedi and wanting a peaceful ending, peace and purpose, and that's great and everything. Don't get me wrong, but you took the fun out of Star Wars, and that's the Force being a superpower. It is a superpower. 8-year-old Brian will tell you it's absolutely a superpower. Even 41-year-old Brian here will tell you it is a superpower. Yes, do I appreciate the bigger mythology part of it now as an adult? Absolutely, but it is still fun. It is still Star Wars. Keep the fun in Star Wars. It's great that you're sticking to some of the mythology and the greater purpose, but make it fun, Ryan. Don't get so caught up in it that you lose that. That's why people go to the Star Wars movies.
I hope he doesn't do that in the new trilogy. I hope when JJ comes out with Episode 9.
Yeah.
And obviously, JJ has a different take on what the Force is and the superpower of a Jedi and everything else.
Yeah.
That I hope that Rian Johnson sees the difference. And when he makes his new trilogy that he's been assigned to do, I hope that he doesn't treat the Force the same way as he did in this last movie and take away the Jedi, the superpower part of it.
Don't get me wrong. Keep, the mythology part fine. But remember, it's still a Star Wars movie. It still needs to be fun, and it's okay to to let it be fun. It's okay to let the Force be a superpower in some instances. You don't go overboard with it by any stretch of the imagination, but don't forget to do that. That's part of what makes Star Wars fun. Yes, it is a superpower. End of story in my book. I don't see how you don't say that. I just, even with the reasoning and everything he put into it, and it was well thought out, I'll give him that, but it is a superpower. Star Wars is meant to be a fun thing. So, all right, let's, I could go on for a couple more hours, but
speaking of fun things,
let's talk about something fun. And that would be, they recently did a drone flyover of the Star Wars theme park
at Disney,
the Star Wars land at Disneyland. So, if you haven't seen this, there's a little video clip of it. Go online. I didn't want to put the video clip on here because I thought it might be a little bit of plagiarism, so we held back on that. But it is really cool. It is coming along. 2019. It looks
massive.
It is massive. It's their biggest expansion ever.
Well, I'm not just expansion. I'm talking like tall wise.
Yeah,
like it just looks super tall.
Yeah, it is an immersion land. You're supposed to literally get lost in Star Wars while you're there. You're gonna have a Millennium. You're gonna be able to pilot the Millennium Falcon. It's gonna be all inclusive. It's supposed to be I forget the name of it now, but it's supposed to be an outpost at the edge of the galaxy. You're gonna have all kinds of aliens, all kinds of creatures. Talk about fun. Talk about.
Can you imagine taking a vacation down there?
My God,
and like just taking like a week and you. Are they going to build like the other parks and have like a hotel inside that park?
There will be a Star Wars hotel inside Disneyland.
So if you take a week and you go down these stands, just stay in Star Wars.
Just tell your friends, I'll see you in a week. I'm going to go.
It's going to be booked all the time.
I'm going to go with Star Wars
by like that 35 to 45 male range.
It's going to be awesome, though. I mean, I'll just be like, guys, I'm out. I'm going to Star Wars World. Leave me alone. I'll check. I'll see you in a week.
Yeah.
I'll post pictures as I go, but that'll be it. I'm going to get lost. Completely merged. Here's all the money I have. What do you want? A pint of blood? Here you go. Yeah. Go right ahead.
Like, can you imagine eating dinner around the whatchamacallit table from the Death Star scene with Tarkin and everybody?
Tarkin, that would be cool.
Yeah, like everybody's eating dinner there and around the thing, and Vader walks in.
You pretend to choke on steak.
Yeah, I'll choke on the steak.
That'd be hilarious. But yeah, the cantina, I'm sure there'll be a cantina there. I mean, how do you not like a cantina?
Right. And you can probably drink in the cantina.
You really get a real alcoholic drink?
Like, I'll take a beer in the cantina.
Yeah, I'll have something blue with alcohol.
Yeah.
A blue Russian. Is that possible? No. What would that be? A blue... I have to think about that one. Just don't make it the blue sea whale. That would be
the
bad.
Blue sea whale.
Yeah, that was just nasty. Sorry. Disney's obviously going all out. This is... even for those of you who hate that Disney bought Star Wars, I don't see how you cannot like this. I mean, this is...
The fact that you're going to be able to interact with
Star Wars. I mean, come on. This is your 10-year-old, 8-year-old going crazy, So, I can't wait for it. It's supposed to be opening sometime, I think, late 2019, so maybe about a year and a half away. It's not that far now. So, start saving your money. Start selling your blood. Start mortgaging your houses, your cars, and get ready to live Star Wars. That's for sure. So, all right. So, last topic for us here today on Parsecs of the Force. There is apparently a way, believe it or not, with The Last Jedi that you can get a music-only version of The Last Jedi.
Interesting.
So what does that mean? That means that you get no dialogue and no special effects sounds. So all you see is the movie and the score from John Williams. And that's it. Now, if you're a Star Wars music aficionado or lover like myself, then this is probably something you're going to want to do. How do you do it? You go to Movies Anywhere. Supposedly Movies Anywhere is like, even if you have Vudu like I do, you can import your movie supposedly into Movies Anywhere, and it'll give you the option to watch this version of The Last Jedi. You can also put your individual codes in there like you do on Vudu, and it goes anywhere with you supposedly.
Interesting.
But yeah, if you're...
I've never heard of videos anywhere or movies anywhere.
So if you want to turn The Last Jedi into a Star Wars concert only, like you just play it in the background with just the music and have like a, visual.
Can you do it with any of them or just that one?
Just that one so far. But still, I can't not see them not trying to do something similar with all the other Star Wars movies. I don't think it would be that hard to remove the audio track and special effects tracks from them and
never know
and make it, But yeah, so I could definitely see that. I see the value in this. I think it would be awesome. What do you think of it, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, if you like the music, I'm not a big fan of just the music.
Yeah.
To me, I have to have the whole movie
playing. All of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't just sit there and watch with just music and watch them, and then not see. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not for me, but it could be. For somebody like you who likes the music. And you always talk about the music, whether we're watching this or Rebels or whatever. So
I love the music. I love the moment. I love the feels. I love Star Wars. Is definitely, I've heard it called the oxygen of Star Wars, the music, and that's definitely true. It's what makes Star Wars come alive, is the music. So I am looking forward to this. I haven't tried it yet. It is on my list of things to do. It's been a busy week at work, but I definitely want to try this out and just watch the movie. Even just a few scenes. Although I will admit, I don't know if I will be able to like the lightsaber scenes as much without the lightsaber special effects and whatnot. But that aside, I can see, there was Star Wars in concert that came out and they did something similar and they were just playing the music and they were showing bits and pieces of the different movies and stuff while they did it. So I could see that maybe also as a kind of like a thing, like you got something, maybe you're having a sci-fi party or some sort of a party and you got it on in the background or something. Just kind of playing. So there's all kinds of practical effects other than, even if you're not just a Star Wars fan. So again, if you want to do that, that's Movies Anywhere. Supposedly the app is free. Again, you can put in your codes into there, load them into this app, as well as import your stuff over from Vudu as well. So your entire library can literally go with you. Again, that's Movies Anywhere. Not that I'm trying to plug it, but supposedly that's how it gets done. So... All right, well, that does it for our very first edition of Parsecs of the Force here at 4 Midwest Guys. Before we go, though, we want to, where can you find us here? Well, real easy. You go to 4midwestguys.com. That's kind of like your one-stop shop for us here. If you go there, you will find all of our podcasts in chronological order. You will find links to our Twitter, to our Facebook, to our YouTube, to our iTunes, to our Podbean account as well. Everything is categorized for you per podcast at the top, so very soon you'll see a link for Parsecs of the Force shows only. If you just like this show, you click that link and they'll be in chronological order for you as well. If you like any of our Star Wars Rebels, which we just concluded last week, go there and click on those. So you can click on all that and get just those shows, and there's other podcasts and shows that we do as well. So make sure you click and check them all out, and check out the website. Also, if you are on Twitter, you can follow us at 4midwestguys.com. Brian, where can they follow you, sir?
On Twitter?
Yes, on Twitter.
At Angzone.
At Angzone. Very good.
Or we can follow us on Instagram.
Instagram, yes. Talk about your Instagram.
_real_Ank, and you can find behind the scenes pictures, and there's a couple videos up there.
Yep.
Probably once we get started with this one, I'll start posting some more pictures from here. But
yeah, so if you want to see how we do our podcast and how we go about doing it, that's a good spot. Also, you can follow me personally at bwilly1977 on Twitter as well. All right, so well, Brian, thanks for joining me here on this my dream come true of finally doing an actual pure Star Wars show.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here. I'm glad we were able to get this thing knocked out and started it right back up as soon as Rebels got off the air.
Absolutely. So we're back. Star Wars is back, and Star Wars lives forever with us. And so I am your host, B. Willie, and as always, may the Force be with you.